In the summer of 2013, a man named Daniel Carter was doing something ordinary, something thousands of people do every day. He was trying to sell his truck. Daniel lived in Ontario. He was a husband, a father, a hard-working man with a young daughter who adored him. He listed his truck online, hoping to find a buyer and move on with his life. He had no idea that one simple decision would end his life. One evening, two men contacted him about the truck. They wanted to see it. They wanted to test drive it. Daniel agreed. He climbed into the truck with them, trusting that this was just another sale. That was the last time his family ever saw him alive. When Daniel didn't come home, panic set in quickly. This wasn't like him. He wouldn't just disappear. His wife began calling his phone again and again. No answer. Hours passed, then the night. By morning, fear had taken over. Daniel Carter was officially missing. News spread fast. His face appeared on TV screens. His name echoed on the radio. Search teams were organized. Volunteers flooded the area. His wife stood in front of cameras, begging anyone who knew anything to come forward. She wasn't asking for justice yet. She was begging for her husband to come home alive. Their young daughter waited, not understanding why her father wasn't coming back. The entire community watched and hoped. But somewhere in the darkness, Daniel was already gone. Police followed every lead they could. Cell phone pings, witness statements, online messages. Slowly, a picture began to form. Two men had taken Daniel on that test drive. Their names were Evan Miller and Ryan Cole. Evan was young, in his 20s, rich, extremely rich. He came from a wealthy family with private aircraft, luxury cars, and unlimited resources. He had no reason to steal, and yet he wanted Daniel's truck. Not because he couldn't buy one, but because it was the exact color he wanted for a race. That was it. That was the reason Daniel Carter died. Police eventually arrested them. Evidence piled up. Surveillance footage, phone records, digital trails. The truth became impossible to ignore. Daniel Carter had been murdered. The community was devastated. His wife's worst fear was confirmed. His daughter would grow up without her father. A man who trusted strangers lost his life over nothing. But the horror didn't stop there. Because once police caught Evan Miller, they started asking a terrifying question. What else had he done? As investigators dug into Evan's past, one name kept appearing. Lena Brooks. Lena was a young woman who had dated Evan on and off. She vanished in 2012, a year before Daniel disappeared. At the time, her case didn't receive much attention. Now everything looked different. Evan had been seeing another woman while still involved with Lena. His girlfriend at the time was jealous, angry, threatened by Lena's presence. And Evan fed that jealousy. In messages, he said things that would later make people sick to their stomachs. First, I'm going to hurt her, then I'll make her leave. I will remove her from our lives. Those words were not emotional outbursts. They were plans. Around the same time Lena disappeared, Evan and Ryan began searching for a large incinerator. Not a small one, a massive one. They planned to install it inside Evan's family airplane hangar. And eventually they did. On the last day Lena was ever seen, her phone showed she was heading to Evan's house. Then it stopped. No calls, no messages, no movement. She vanished. Not long after, her tablet was renamed. It now belonged to Ryan. Lena's friends and family were terrified. They went to the police. They explained everything. The phone records, the final calls to Evan, the threats, the sudden silence. They begged for help. But Lena was struggling at the time. She had mental health issues. She didn't have stable housing. She was technically homeless. And because of that, her disappearance wasn't taken seriously. Police didn't dig deep. They didn't search hard. They didn't push. When Evan was pressed for answers, he made a statement that haunted everyone later. He said there should be no reasonable expectation of finding her. It sounded like someone who already knew the ending. Months passed. Then something else happened. In the fall of that same year, Evan's father was found dead in his bed. He had been shot in the head. There were problems at the scene. A paramedic moved the gun before photos could be taken. Evidence was disturbed. Important details were lost. The death was ruled a suicide, and the case was closed. For years, these events sat in separate boxes. A missing woman, a wealthy young man, a dead father. No one connected the dots until Daniel Carter was murdered. After Evan and Ryan were arrested for Daniel's killing, police finally looked back. They reopened Lena Brooks' case. This time they looked hard. They examined the messages, the phone records, the incinerator, the hangar, the timeline, and the truth emerged. Lena Brooks had been murdered. Her body was never recovered, but the evidence was overwhelming. Evan Miller and Ryan Cole were responsible. Investigators then reopened the case of Evan's father. This time the ruling of suicide didn't hold. Too many inconsistencies. Too many deaths connected to one man. Evan Miller was arrested again, this time for murder. The trials were long, painful, emotional. Daniel Carter's family sat in court, listening to details no family should ever hear. Lena Brooks' loved ones finally saw the system acknowledge that her life mattered, that she mattered. Evan Miller was found guilty, not once, but multiple times. He received consecutive life sentences, one for Daniel Carter, one for Lena Brooks, one for his own father. Ryan Cole was also found guilty of Lena Brooks's murder, but he was not involved in the death of Evan's father. Evan Miller had everything: money, privilege, power, and he used it to destroy lives. Daniel Carter went on a test drive and never came home. Lena Brooks trusted someone she once cared about and vanished forever. A father died in his own bed. For years, a monster hid in plain sight. This case changed how people sell things online. It changed how missing persons are viewed. And it left families with a lifetime of grief. Because sometimes the most terrifying killers aren't driven by desperation. They're driven by entitlement. And they believe they will never be caught until they are. This is Obscure Justice, and thank you for watching. And please do well to subscribe to encourage us to do more and comment your thought on this. See you on the next video.